Hey everybody, welcome back. Since it's the beginning of February, we are going to talk about romance and romantic literature. So I thought I would take this opportunity to share with you all how much I love, and I love it. I love romance, I love between friends, I love between family, I love between humans and their pets. I just love it. I love kindness and caring for people and having those bonds and those connections with other beings that you have when you love someone or something. And I just love it. And that's what, to me, February is about, and that's what Valentine's Day is about, which is why I don't just buy stuff for my husband on Valentine's Day. I buy stuff for my friends and all my pets and my family, and it's kind of a big deal for me. I love Valentine's Day. I know not everybody feels that way about Valentine's Day. In fact, I have several friends who don't like Valentine's Day, but I still buy them something because I still love them, even if they hate Valentine's Day. This video is not about Valentine's Day, but I thought I would take the opportunity to explore the ideas of romance literature versus romantic literature. There's a lot of people who don't realize that these are actually two different literature genres and movements, and so I wanted to explore those with you today so that maybe someone can learn something new about love and romance and the romantic. So first, let's take a look at romance literature. So romance literature is what people traditionally think of when you talk about romantic or romance literature. This is literature that involves romantic relationships and love that overcomes obstacles. This particular genre really started sprouting up during the medieval times when you would have these great epic stories about knights and ladies, like the stories of King Arthur and the other knights of the Round Table and all of their lady loves and all of the drama that came with that. So that's kind of where you see the beginnings of the idea of romance as a literature genre. And it really took off and it was popular then, and we've kind of seen a lot of it since then. It's been mixed in with a lot of other genre movements that have happened. You see it among a lot of works now. You see it among a lot of works from like the British Romantic period, which we're going to get into. There is some of that in there, some of the romance in the Romantic. You also see it in the more traditional stuff that people think about, like Jane Austen's novels have a lot of romance in them. They're considered girl novels. I love them, but they are romance heavy. And so that is romance as a genre. As a genre, romance tends to be a very broad genre. It tends to mix really well with other genres. So you'll see genres that you maybe necessarily wouldn't always pair with romance will have romance in them. So like you can have a sci-fi novel that has romance in it. You can have a fantasy novel that has romance in it. You can have a slice of life romance novel. And let's face it, we're all suckers for a good love story, right? Again, I know not everybody's a sucker for a love story. Not everybody loves love like I do, but that's okay. So let's talk about the Romantic period. And that's our second thing that we're going to talk about today. Romantic literature is different than romance literature. Romantic literature is a movement that happened primarily in the 18th century and into a little bit of the early 19th century that really saw a focus in literature on emotions and feelings and intellect and these ideas of what makes us human and what makes us these beings that we are. And that's why you get a lot of books in this period that kind of explore those ideas. And that's all part of romantic literature. So let's take a look at some of these romantic literature novels that you will probably have heard of. And one of my personal favorites, the one we're going to start with, is Frankenstein. I know a lot of people, when they hear the term romantic literature, they don't think of Frankenstein. Frankenstein is one of the most classic romantic literature novels because it explores the idea of what makes us human and what makes other things not human. It talks about feelings and emotions and intellect and all of these things. If you haven't taken the time to read Frankenstein just as a novel for enjoyment, I highly suggest it. It's very, very good. There's a lot of other well-known novels that fall into this romantic literature genre. You have The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Again, not one you would consider romantic when you think about it, but it follows this idea of what makes us human. what makes us click as a society, what is emotions and all this other stuff that creates humanity. And that is what the Romantic literature movement was about. You also have Don Juan by Lord Byron, which is actually a huge satirical poem. And it's just, again, it just explores the ideas of emotions and humanity. And that is the Romantic literature movement. And so on one hand, you have this basic understanding that everybody understands as romance literature with the kissy-kissy and the lovey-lovey. And then you have the Romantic literature, which, while they sound the same, they're very different. Romantic literature explores these ideas of humanity, these emotions and this intellect and this sense of being and belonging that we as humans have. And while they are very different, they explore very human things. Loving people and that romance literature that we think about is very, very human. And even if you don't have romantic feelings for people, chances are you love somebody, or a dog, or a cat. That's also acceptable. And that is an emotion, which is what the Romantic literature explored. And so while they seem different, and they are different, they're also very common in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of things that bring them together. So that was a brief exploration in the difference between romance literature and Romantic literature, and I hope that you enjoyed it and that maybe you learned something new, and that maybe you will take my suggestion and go out and read Frankenstein for yourself, or maybe The Scarlet Letter, or Don Juan. You'll find something that you like, I'm sure. And as always, keep looking until you find your story, and I appreciate you and your time. Don't forget to subscribe down below and ring that little bell for updates, and I will see you all out there. Bye!